Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? We are back for some pro wrestling content on the Anthony Blackwell Jr. YouTube channel, Facebook page, Twitch, and Twitter. We're doing it all now, BP. Tonight we're going to be rubbing the magic balls, pulling out the tarot cards, and we are going to be predicting the future of 2023 in professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's funny. In preparation for this, I went this afternoon while I was on the commute from work. I went into the archives of the old Tornado Tag podcast. We did a prediction show at the end of 2021 for 2022, and it was just obviously we didn't think like, oh, Vince McMahon will be exiled or things like that. It was basically what happened was Andy Header gave us like all these different scenarios. We guessed that they were going to be likely or unlikely, and it was so surreal listening to this because it was just a year ago and just like a different world. Or like, oh yeah,
tell us some of the things that we were close or completely wrong on.
Triple H, it's unlikely. It's a few of us thought it was likely he would leave WWE, and then he was running it for a good part of the. No, he didn't leave. He lost his position. No, that had already happened. He gained the position. Right. He gained the position in 2022. We thought he was going to leave the business. Some of us thought that Ring of Honor was just completely done. Like it wasn't going to come back.
Who said it was coming back?
I believe you said they wouldn't even do a show in March. Or no, Andy said they were done. Like they wouldn't even do the show in March. Like I was like, no, I think they'll do a show in March. I think you may have been the only one that thought they might get bought by another company. One of the funniest things about the Ring of Honor show though is part of it. Like Andy was talking about listening to a podcast with Carrie Silken. He's like, yeah, the old owner's like just explaining who he is, and like then he becomes friendly with us later.
We become buddies
so
with Carrie
Silken. So like a few months later, so surreal.
Yeah, so if don't mind my mess in the background, ignore all that tonight. I got a brand new desk today. I put it together. I did the man thing. I put it together just by kind of looking at it but not reading. And then I was like, why isn't this? And I'm like, oh, because I didn't put it together right, because I'm a fucking stubborn piece of shit. So I had to go and redo everything and put it all together. But it's nice. I have a nice little setup here. I don't know how I'm going to do game streamings, but that's back there, my computer being here. So I have to figure that out. But so I have a lot got done. Some of my predictions I kind of dropped the ball with. But before we get into anything here tonight, let's take care of some housekeeping, some business. The intro music. That won't be a thing next episode. I do have the old Tornado Tag music. We are going to bring that back. I'm going to do a different intro. I'm going to use AI art, so artists out there, don't kill me. I don't have money to pay for art, so I want to somehow put me and BP in the intro because it is our wrestling content thing. It's almost like the spinoff of Tornado Tag, essentially. There's something I was kicking around possibly is kind of bringing back the name, but just dropping podcasts. So on this channel, it would just be like it'd be Tornado Tag, and we would just go live as Tornado Tag. I'm not sure yet. I'm still kicking it around. It is a little sketchy for me because it's not all the same people and the whole nine, but so I'm debating. I'm still figuring it out. Because as of right now, this is in a playlist called Pro Wrestling Content on this page. But I want to give you as much value into it because you're putting the work in to be here and be a co-host and all that other great stuff. So that's kind of something I'm kicking around, as well as Banging Beers. Just have like a Banging Beers playlist, but I'm not sure. No.
In professional wrestling, a retirement is permanent and can never be undone. That's just the rules of it.
I'll retire unless that Saudi money comes, and then I'm coming back bald. Yeah, But yeah, so so that's all up in the air. So. But anyway, the big push this year is if you can, we have a Patreon. It is in the links below. I believe I should probably have the link memorized. I'll do that soon. But in the links below is a Patreon. It could be as low as $1. It could be as high as you want. We are pushing for that. It is a monthly subscription. It's just general support. I'm finding ways that we can put bonus content there if need be. We used to put bonus content, but nobody really watched it. So
isn't that the name of the Commander's mascot, General Support?
Colonel. I don't remember. I don't know.
I believe it's Major Tutty. Is
Major Tutty? Thank you.
Although I said a better nickname for that team would be Major Punty.
Yes. But yeah. Oh goodness gracious, we didn't have a horrible year. Taylor Heineke pulled us out, and then they said, "Fuck them, let's tank the season." But anyway, let's get back. So Patreon, general support. It really helps. Equipment. It helps build the set around me. It helps pay for gas if we need it to go to shows. All that great stuff. So if you can support by doing the Patreon, that'd be fantastic. Also, in the links below, there's 2 wrestlers who are on the shelf right now, Adena Steele as well as Philly Mike. So if you could support them by their subscription services as well as merchandise, please do so. And then if you want to hang out with us this Saturday, we will be at the AXW show in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, the debut of AXW.
The return, yes. The new AXW. Yeah.
The new AXW. But we'll be there hanging out. You can come see us and watch some cool wrestling. But without further ado, let's get into our predictions. Also, thank you, Lisa Osborne, for being in the chat. Lorraine, as well as Stephen Chambers. Thank you all for hanging out. We're going to try to get through this in 45 minutes to an hour. This week and next week, we'll be recording on Fridays, and then we will go back to our regular programming on Thursdays. There will be some situations where we bounce back and forth between Thursday and Friday because we do some stuff at Pilgrim Brewing Company, which will be at next Thursday.
Next Thursday, and then 2 Thursdays after on the 26th, we'll be there for wrestling trivia. Yeah.
So
which you can win this time. I will not be participating, so you could win.
Yeah. So
not you. No, you have no shot. But like somebody. Yeah, me too. But
yeah,
I drink and win usually.
You're an animal. You're my Undertaker. You know what I mean? But anyway, so come hang out with us there if you're local. Make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, and then all that great stuff in the links below as well. All right. 2022 was a crazy year for professional wrestling.
Oh yes, it was.
If you had any of those predictions right, you are the man or woman.
Yeah. If you even I was mentioning before we went on the air, I listened to, speaking of the old Tornado Tag Show, I listened to the predictions show we did in December of 2021, and boy, we were off on a lot of things. Talking about like Cody turning heel and Cody doing this and Cody doing that. He turned heel
to some people.
Never did we discuss Cody going to WWE. There was a thing where we did say, will somebody jump from AEW to WWE? And I think myself and maybe you or Andy said, yes, Brian Cage. Wow. But no, Brian Cage is still in AEW. But Cody is the one that makes the jump.
Yeah, what a turn of events. 2023 was wild, man. Crazy, crazy year. Well, let's get into 2023. And we already have a little bit of news. Vince, but now is back.
He's the chairman of the board again. Basically, the way the WWE stock works is, even though Vince has sold a lot of shares of stock, he doesn't have a majority of the shares anymore. The way it is, but it isn't. The way the voting works for WWE stock is basically any stock that a McMahon owns has 10 times more voting power than a stock that somebody else owns. Yikes. So basically, he can sell off all the stock, and he still, even though he owns like maybe 35-40% of the company, he has like 80% of the voting power, so he can do whatever he wants basically. And he made himself the chairman of the board again. He brought back George Barrios, who was the old chief financial officer of the company that he fired when he brought on Nick Khan. He brought him back as a board member. Michelle Wilson, who was another executive there, brought her back as a member of the board. Pretty much Vince loyalists. He removed 3 members of the board to put them back on it. 2 members of the board.
Didn't someone step down who was in charge of the allegations?
Yeah, 2 members of the board, including, I don't have the person's name, but including the one who was part of the internal investigation against Vince, both resigned from the board. It came out that he has not paid back the $19 million he said he was going to pay back of company money he put out for this hush money. And there's been a lot of conjecture, and there's been a lot of debate that maybe this is going to be Vince is just setting it up to sell. And I'm going to start my predictions there. I'm going to say by the end of 2023, and I'm going on a limb because I think this may get stretched out to 2024, and I'll tell you exactly why. I'm going to call a shot here. WWE sells, and WWE is sold to MICKEYMOUSE. No. Everybody thinks Disney. I think Comcast. NBC Universal Comcast,
They said they save a lot of money for that USA deal by buying them.
Not just the USA deal, but the Peacock deal. They own Peacock. So basically all of the major American rights deals that WWE has, besides SmackDown, which is through Fox, are all through NBC Universal Comcast. Why buy the cow? You're not getting the milk for free, so buy the cow so you can. You're literally buying
like $21 million a year to put them on for Raw.
More than that. They're paying
more.
Raw is like $240 million a year.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Raw. I believe the rights fees are $240 for Raw. I think they pay like $50 million a year for NXT. I believe Fox pays about $200 million a year for SmackDown. WWE's main revenue is through rights fees, and they're getting paid also hundreds of millions of dollars a year for the Peacock deal, because it had to be worth a while for WWE. You got to imagine they had over 1 million subscribers to the WWE network at $9.99 a month. That's a lot of money. That's almost $100 million a year. So they would be probably saving money in the long run if they just buy WWE, and now that money's just getting pushed around internally. And I say it may happen. It may happen in 2023. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if it happens the first quarter of 2024, because do you happen to know where Comcast is headquartered? Philly. And where's WrestleMania next year in 2024?
Philly.
What a perfect time to announce it, right? And then I will not hear anything else. If this happens, it's no longer the New York territory. It is the Philadelphia territory, and Philadelphia takes its rightful place at the center of the wrestling universe.
I agree with that. I'll take it.
Yes.
Philadelphia in 2023 is going to be a spot again for professional wrestling.
It's been a little bit.
High Tension is putting their flag in the Philly area, so that's exciting. That's exciting news. So people in the chat saying that maybe Tony Khan makes a run at the sale, but I think what Brian's saying with the Comcast is most likely, if it's going to happen, that's the way it's going to go.
The asking price is so high. I mean, yes, Shad Khan does have the money. Shad Khan has $6 billion. Shad Khan is not in the media business. Shad Khan is in the sports business, he and the automotive business. Like, Shad Khan made his money making truck bumpers.
Yeah.
And then he's now diversified into the Jacksonville Jaguars. He owns a soccer team in the English soccer system, Fulham FC. And yeah, he owns AEW, but the AEW investment is in the millions or hundreds of millions. The WWE sale price is going to be into the billions. And Shad Khan,
what, $6 billion is what it's estimated.
And that's Shad Khan's net worth. Maybe it would be more than that. Maybe closer to 4. Okay. They say when UFC sold for like 3 or 4 billion, that's when Vince maybe changed his tune a little bit about selling. He's like, "Whoa, I can get that much."
Yeah. Here's a question for you. I think it's a no-brainer for Comcast just because of the 200 million. The whole 200 million just to keep Raw on their network alone. You don't have to spend that for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. You make back what you spent.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean.
And it would make sense for Disney too. Disney is a possibility just because, then you can put Raw on ESPN. You could put SmackDown maybe even on ABC. You could put the network, the live streaming network stuff on Disney Plus or Hulu.
If Comcast buys, do you think as soon as the Raw deal's done, SmackDown deal's done, it's off Fox?
Not necessarily. They can make money. That's another revenue stream. Yeah. They can sell it to another. They can sell it to the highest bidder if they want. NBC Universal produces shows for other networks. Very famously, the show House that was on maybe like 10, 15 years ago, the medical show on Fox, was produced by NBC or distributed by NBC Universal. Yeah. It's rare. But it does happen.
Yeah. So there's our first prediction. WWE sells to Comcast,
the cable town,
and Philly becomes the wrestling mecca.
Yeah, it's no longer the New York territory; it's the Philadelphia territory at that point.
Even though they're in Connecticut.
Yeah, but it's right outside.
Yeah. I think that's a safe bet. I think that's really good. Now here's a question: is that good for WWE? People think they sell.
No, it's horrible.
You don't think so?
just because then you're another part of the corporate. You're just another cog in the machine at that point. I doubt they would make wholesale changes. I'm sure if they do sell, they would probably keep the same. Maybe Nick Khan leaves because Nick Khan. There's been the conspiracy theory has been that Nick Khan has been there just to prep the company for sale anyway.
Yeah.
But as far as running day to day, they would probably lean on Stephanie McMahon. They would probably lean on Triple H. I don't know how much Vince would be involved.
Well, here's where it could possibly good. Vince sells, and now he is completely out of the picture, and they can make changes and adjustments without him lurking all the time.
Yeah. Then again, they say there was an employee meeting at Titan Tower today, not with the wrestlers, but with like the actual employees, like the finance people, the HR people, the actual like office people. And they said the day-to-day operations will not change. Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are still your co-CEOs. Triple H is still your chief content officer. They said that it's going to be business as usual, that Vince McMahon is kind of there to kind of just get everything lined up for a next move. They even mentioned, and this would be the complete opposite of a sale. They even mentioned taking it private again, possibly, which would be they buy up all the stock and it goes private and it's just privately owned by the McMahons again. And at that point, that's when you have to worry like Vince is just going to take control again, because at that point, Vince doesn't have shareholders to answer to. He doesn't have to worry about a stock price tanking if he does say I'm taking over everything again, and if you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. Because if he does that now, the only thing that's bad can happen is he can lose a lot of money because the stock price tanks.
Yeah, and then the stock price actually have to hire a hitman at that point.
The stock price, well, maybe they'll hire the hitman.
Yeah.
He already knocked Vince out once. But no, the stock actually went up today because people think they're going to sell, and usually when you sell, it's good for the shareholders because they get the stock split.
Yeah. All right, our next prediction.
This is a little more of a wrestling related, not a business related one, but I have the Bloodline, and we'll get into this, not counting Sami Zayn because I don't think he'll be a part of the Bloodline at this point. The Bloodline ends WrestleMania without any titles. The Usos and Roman end WrestleMania Night 2, not champions.
Okay. I think Roman leaves with one title after Mania, not two.
They're talking Roman might not even go into WrestleMania.
That's a rumor too. And they said one of the guys who might be the guy who takes the titles off him now may have blown his knee out and might not even be at Mania.
Oh, Rollins? I saw he was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely a possibility. And that's the injury bug hitting because AJ Styles has a broken ankle. Now Rollins is banged up.
And they're saying that everything hinges on The Rock. I think The Rock knows how important WrestleMania is, and if there were this far into the game, The Rock knows what he's doing, and I think he's made it very. I think they know backstage what's happening with The Rock, if he's doing it or not.
Yeah, it seems like The Rock is plan A, Cody is plan B. It seems to be the way they're discussing it.
Now, there's a theory going around. Tantalizing Tony's leaning very heavily on it, and so is some people on the internet. Brian, you are, I would say, the most intelligent wrestling mind that I know.
Oh.
What are the odds-on chances Sami Zayn beats Roman Reigns for the Universal title at WrestleMania?
I think his odds of winning the title from Roman at Mania are only very marginally higher than my chances of beating Roman Reigns for the heavyweight title.
And why is that?
I don't think they see him as a main event level guy. I think they see him as incredibly entertaining, and he is. I think they see him as a great piece of the puzzle, and he is. I don't think that anybody in that company sees Sami Zayn as the guy to end the biggest title reign they've had since Hulk Hogan in the 80s. I just don't see them connecting Sami Zayn to that dot, no matter how great he's been, and he has been great. I don't think you go from losing to Johnny Knoxville one year to beating Roman Reigns the next year, no matter how good of a year you had.
Agreed.
It just does not compute. I believe, and Steven and Chambers in the chat just said it, I believe Sami Zayn's role at WrestleMania is that he and Kevin Owens defeat the Usos for the tag team titles. I believe
that's
where
the
Sammy's
route
going.
I'm going to. Now, who is that guy that beats Roman and takes the title?
Well, I think we've discussed this before. We're talking about The Rock. We're talking about Roman Reigns. Just a great lineage there. Yokozuna was a world champion from there. That the Anoa'i dynasty. The Wild Samoans were one of the great tag teams of all time. Just the lineage of wrestling in that family is incredible. But wrestling has more than one royal family, and that's what you got to remember. And that's just winning the title.
And now, the reason I bring this up is because here's how I'm not the biggest Cody guy when it comes to character. As a person, I think Cody's a great person. I think he's going to do amazing things. If I owned a company, I would lean heavily on him because he brings something to the table that you haven't seen in wrestling since John Cena. He's that guy you can market. He's that guy you can send out and do the Make-A-Wishes. He's that guy you can put on the cover of the video game, and on the cover of your poster, and on your cups, and on your merchandise. Yep. I love Sami Zayn, but he's not that guy. He's not going to bring you in the money Cody is going to as a world champion.
Sami Zayn is a great character actor. And a great character actor can make a movie.
And he's a great wrestler, too. He's very talented.
Sami Zayn is good at everything.
Yes. Now, if you think if they put Sami back to his role that he was in NXT, where he was almost Gargano before Gargano, he can reclaim some of that and become that golden babyface again?
You could, but that underdog narrative on the main roster, that is not the number one babyface they've ever gone for. And even with Triple H as the head of creative and not Vince, and who knows how much says Vince is going to have in this, even he's going to see like Cody's our money guy. Cody's our money maker. The NXT stuff, NXT booking was never meant to translate to WWE. And even then, if you look at NXT's booking, Johnny Gargano wasn't champion for that long. Johnny Gargano was a transitional champion to get the title from Ciampa to Adam Cole. Yeah. Sami Zayn was a transitional champion to get the title from Neville to Kevin Owens. They weren't long-term babyface Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena champions. Cody Rhodes fits that mold. Cody Rhodes is that guy. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, whether you think he's the best, whether you think he's the worst, Cody Rhodes, especially now that he's reinvented himself and he has become this kind of media darling, and he's become a star. He is shown he knows how to make himself a star. He's the guy. There's another way to put it. He's the guy that they would want to run with. And maybe not permanently, because I think Roman will be right back in the mix. And Roman will probably be in the mix eventually as a babyface again, because this whole thing was just a long con to get people to accept Roman. And when he flips babyface, they won't hate him as much as they used to.
You think?
Maybe not. I don't think shaking hands, kissing babies, but maybe a little bit more of a babyface with an edge. He's the same guy, but he's going after the bad guys instead of the good guys.
Yeah. Well, who's that guy you make your next big villain? That's a question.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, here's my one Cody prediction. It's not really my 2023 prediction, just a prediction in general. I think Cody is seen and on TV, and he is not a surprise entrant in the Rumble. I think Cody's the guy who comes out and cuts a promo and says, "I'm back." He's the one who wants to speak before the action. I think he's that guy that comes out and he goes, "I'm here. I'm back. I'm fully healthy. I'm here for one reason and one reason only. It's Rumble season, and I'm going to be in the Rumble." I think that's his route. That
is incredibly possible. It's what they did with Triple H in 2000. What year did he win it? 2002, I believe.
He's all about that promo. He wants the mic. He wants the ball in his court, and I think him showing up is more impactful cutting a promo than him showing up as a surprise.
Plus, he already was on TV. They interviewed him on the Raw recap show.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody would be overly surprised either that Cody's going to be in the Royal Rumble. I think even a casual fan that's not that plugged in is like, yeah, Cody Rhodes will probably be back. You want to talk about who I think might be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble? The Great Muta. who has never, ever stepped foot in a WWE ring, is hanging it up. I believe the Great Muta may be in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Oh, we're watching the show on Analyzing Tony. Appreciate it. Well, we just talked about the Sami Zayn bit, and once again, Tony, you are at an island alone on that take. But yeah, the great. So even though the Great Muta kind of said some homophobic stuff, you think he still gets a?
Yeah, and obviously you don't condone what he said. It's Japan, and they have an entirely different mindset there. It doesn't justify ignorance, but I don't think there's going to be people at WWE's door with pitchforks so they have the Great Muta in the Royal Rumble either.
Yeah. All right. Next prediction, Brian.
Speaking of Royal Rumble, Rhea Ripley wins the Women's Royal Rumble.
There you go. I think I don't know if it's going to be a chamber or Rumble, but they need to find a way to get Alexa from Raw to SmackDown. SmackDown needs help. They have nobody over there to make any coherent. The only thing they have right now is Raquel Gonzalez, and if Charlotte's going that babyface route and standing in the crowd and getting the love, they have really nobody over there that people are going to be invested in. They don't want to see Ronda Charlotte anymore. I think they're
going to get Rhea to SmackDown. You win that Royal Rumble, you get to challenge whoever you want, whatever champion you want. I think Rhea challenges a SmackDown Women's Champion.
Yeah, I think they try to find out because I think they're going to do this whole spooky Alexa Bliss, Bray Wyatt. They need to team them up, and I think she needs to get over to SmackDown for that to be a thing.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not a fan of it, but she has to find a way over there.
Yeah, the spooky magic power stuff, I hate it, but whatever.
But this Royal Rumble is sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Yes, the pitch black match with LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is an evil, spooky man with magic powers who is a recluse, and nobody knows who he is, or nobody knows really what his story is, or where the source of this mystical powers he's come from. And he's also signed a deal with Mountain Dew to sponsor his match because he's a wizard with an MBA who's very good at marketing, and said, "Hey, I can leverage my magic powers with Mountain Dew and have a pitch black match."
Yeah. Well, hopefully the pitch black match just means they turn the lights off. We don't have to watch it.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna actually not be a pitch black match for me because I don't like to go to the bathroom in the dark. So I'm gonna have the light on during the match while I go to the bathroom and take a break.
Yeah, which is a shame because I really like LA Knight.
See, if I were to sponsor that match, I would try to get sponsored by Orville Redenbacher Popcorn.
Why is that?
You don't know what a popcorn match is? That's an old saying. Yeah, that's an old saying in wrestling.
All right. So your prediction is Rhea Ripley wins the Rumble.
Wins the Women's Rumble, yeah. She'll probably win the Men's Rumble too.
I still think they're a little hesitant on her after the injury, and that's why I think she's doing a lot of comedy bit stuff.
Oh no, I think that she has not as much as Sami Zayn has really come into his own in his role. I think Rhea has really come into her own character-wise with this "I'm your mommy,"
and she did it all injured.
Yeah,
instead of taking time away, she stayed on camera.
Everybody, men and women, want me, but are kind of intimidated by me. Like Rhea has had a great year, and I think it's time for her to really take her spot at the top of the division.
Rhea Ripley. We've been saying this forever as a joke, but not joking, that Charlotte should be doing what Rhea's doing, where she kind of leans into a sexuality a little bit. Rhea loves the fact that people are like sexualizing her, and she's like, I'm eating it up. Like when she goes, when I'm out there, people calling me mommy and telling me I'm caught, like I'm into it. You know what I mean? Like everyone's simping for me. That's what Charlotte should have been doing. Like, I'll take you, and I'll take you back to the hotel room. Woo! You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
you can't even handle it. You can't even handle it.
I'll even kiss the fat one and make him cry.
Perfect. Yeah, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. But Rhea embraced that this year and kind of taken it over. I think it's super important for talent when they're injured to not go away. If they can find something to do and make a character or a story, it pays off. I mean, Britt Baker had a huge year and she never had to wrestle. Rhea Ripley kind of did the same thing. She kind of laid in the cut. She played a character. They put a storyline around her, and she had a dominant year.
Yeah, and she got Dominic Mysterio as over as he's ever been.
Yeah. Oh my God, the prison tattoo was the.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, he's He's hardcore now. He's been changed. He's a changed man.
If this is the route they're going with Dominic, I'll actually be into Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah. Who would have thought that?
Yeah, because I was having a hard time with it. But so I will say my prediction will be Alexa Bliss will win the
Bliss. All right.
Yeah, Bliss. They got to figure something out. They need to put some talent over on SmackDown. It is dismal, and it's the fact that Charlotte had to come back and take the title the way she did proves how weak that division is.
Yeah, because everybody's on Raw.
Yeah,
Becky's
and I'll make another
Raw,
prediction.
Yeah.
I think Ronda gets another title. I think her and Shayna Baszler will be women's tag team champions.
That would be good. Good.
All right. What do you got?
Let's flip it over to the other company now. I'm going to say end of the year, your AEW World Champion by the end of 2023. Who are you thinking?
I would still say MJF.
I think by the end of 2023, your AEW World Champion is absolute Ricky Starks.
Really?
Ricky Starks, yeah. AEW, and I forget where I read this, but it's so true. You think of AEW as this big work rate promotion, and it's not, because everybody's so good in the ring in there. To really stand out in AEW, you have to be a good talker. Like all the people who've gotten super over in AEW, whether it was Jericho or whether it was MJF. MJF is a prime example, or the Acclaimed, even though they're great in the ring. All these people are great wrestlers, but everybody is. The Britt Baker is a key example of this. They're all the people who got over with their personality, with their talking, and the babyface work that Ricky Starks is putting in right now is so good. And the only thing Ricky Starks has going against him is his lack of size. And there's no company that matters less in probably than AEW.
I mean, look at the whole push right now in AEW is people with lack of size. They're pushing Hook, Jungle Boy, Ricky Starks. They're pushing Darby
Andretti?
again.
Yeah.
Actually, Andretti.
Yeah, and so I think Ricky Starks is going to be the guy who takes the title off of MJF. And I think it happens. MJF gets a good run, but probably around maybe All Out, maybe even Full Gear. Maybe MJF gets that full gear to full gear, or even Winter is Coming. And because that's where they had their first match on TV. Winter is Coming. It's a year later. Ricky Starks finally gets his rematch after a year. He gets the job done. I think Ricky Starks ends the year as a champion.
Yeah, because I think MJF's title run is going to be very interesting for people. Because I think because the last couple of years it's been the same 5 guys who've been in that mix, and MJF can't run through the same 5 guys again. This is where MJF has to carry himself as a champion, but also does he carry a new branch of talent with him, with talent that we didn't really see in the top picture.
Yeah, and there's certain guys like Darby Allin and Jungle Boy where I think they're kind of capped because they haven't really had that ability to connect charismatically. Like, they're great wrestlers, they have good characters. I don't know. I don't really think of Darby Allin as a great wrestler necessarily, but that's just my opinion. I know if you're into him, you're into him, and more power to you. And he did have a really good match with Joe, and he works really hard, and
he had a really good
fight with Joe.
My problem with Darby is I get why people like him. He paints his face, he's spooky, he has the edge. There's a character there that people associate with. But my thing is there's no in-ring psychology to his matches.
Agreed.
He's smaller, but he does nothing to wear down his opponent to make it look believable. Joe kicked his ass for the whole time, and he gorillaed out of a chokehold that put out your Wardlow the week before and just threw Big Joe into the turnbuckle, gave him a Canadian destroyer, and Joe's out cold after taking 0 damage the entire time. It just was not believable.
Yeah, psychology is not a strong suit, but but the fact that him and Jungle Boy and those other people you see as the up and comers, they don't really have that verbal ability like a Ricky Starks. I think that's going to put Ricky Starks at another level.
My headphones all of a sudden got really loud after blowing my nose. I was like, why can't I hear very well? That's been fixed. I guess just blockage. But Stephen Chambers says WWE interested in Jay White and Haku's son. Hikuleo.
Well, it looks like it might be more Hikuleo. There was this whole thing the night after Wrestle Kingdom.
You're insane if you get rid of Jay White.
No, Jay White's amazing. The thing is, Jay White might want to go. They might not have a choice. But what's emerged because they're doing a thing now where Jay White challenged Hikuleo to a loser leaves Japan match, and everybody's like, "Oh, Jay White's leaving," because people know that AEW would love to have Jay White full time. People know that WWE would love to have Jay White full time, and people are like, "Oh, Jay White's gone," but now it's emerging that WWE is interested in Hikuleo. I believe he's Donnie Fatu. He's Tama Tonga's and Tonga Loa's brother. Tama Tonga's actual brother, I believe, and Tonga Loa is their adopted brother. They were adopted by Haku, but it looks like it's actually Hikuleo because Jay White apparently has 2 years left on his New Japan deal, is my understanding.
Yeah. Right now, so I watched my first ever New Japan show.
I still haven't seen all of Wrestle Kingdom. I've been trying to catch up, but I've been busy.
Some of my complaints are still there that we've talked about before of things that I thought of the company. They're still there with after watching. I still think it's great.
Yeah, it's not. They're not trying to be American style wrestling. So if you're expecting that, then you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah. But I will say this: when I think of some of the best workers and best wrestlers in the world, I think the match for me that's an absolute dream match that I think them as a program would be together would be absolutely box office and just insane would be Jay White, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, they've drawn comparisons to one another before.
They are Jesus. Jay White. I honestly wasn't that impressed with Okada, but Jay White really impressed me.
And therein lies the beauty of Okada.
Yeah.
He makes everybody look great. He makes everybody look amazing.
Osprey Kenny, fantastic match. The only problem is they did stuff to each other for 25 minutes that should have ended a career, let alone a match. And they just kept kicking out of it. That took me out after a while.
Well, that's every Kenny Omega New Japan match.
It's just too much. It was too much. I was like, are you kidding me? Like an exposed turnbuckle, not once. No, we just watched an exposed turnbuckle take Joe out. But he exposed turnbuckled him on his face, then on his face again, and then exposed turnbuckle V trigger, and Osprey just like beep. I was just like, what? And then they still went another 25 minutes after that.
They call them New Japan kickout matches for a reason.
And another thing that bothered me, and I guess this is just from watching so much wrestling and be there. So, the referees 2 to 3 counts got so predictable because they do it so often. Like you can tell when it's a 2 to 3 and it's a finish, or where it's going to be a false finish. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those small things were tough for me. But I found my New Japan star that I think.
Yeah, you're a Jay White guy. There you go.
Not just Jay White.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to mispronounce his name, so you may have to help me here. Ishimura?
What's that? Ishimura?
Ishii something. I thought that was Ishii. He was the Bullet Club guy that was in the 4-way for the junior heavyweight championship.
Oh, I can't think of his name.
Just he has like the longer half cut bull like shaved head.
Yeah,
jacked, shredded. He lost to like I call the Okada / the young boy Okada, the guy with the black hair and the red tips.
Oh, Hiromu.
I'm not a big Hiromu guy.
You don't like Hiromu?
No, dude. I don't know. He's kind of pudgy, and I don't know. I'm just not into his look or his personality. He just reminds me of that absolute golden baby face. But the guy who was in that match with him, who was the villain, the Bullet Club guy,
Ishimori, right?
Ishimori, yeah.
Yeah. No, he's great.
Dude, that guy is so good.
I thought you were gonna say Yano.
I see Yano was he won that Rumble, right? Where
he was in the Rambo, yeah. He was in the Rambo.
Yeah, and he thought he had to tag in the whole time. He just stood on the outside.
Oh, he's a comedy guy. Yeah, he was a guy like hits people with low blows and the padding on the ring post.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taiji Ishimori is the guy you're thinking of, Bone Soldier, yeah.
Yeah, really good. And he only literally went, like, showed a little bit of what he can do that night, like
he's
really brief instances where he but when he went, it was like, holy shit, like how did he get that hang time? Like he was really, really impressive. He's someone I'm gonna keep watching New Japan for. Like I'm gonna be a fan of him.
Let's stick with New Japan here. I do have some New Japan predictions.
All right.
And this one, I hate to be negative, but I believe this. The Mercedes Moné run is a critical and commercial disappointment.
Agreed.
I think you're going to see that maybe her style is more WWE than we thought, and that the Stardom New Japan style is a little bit different.
I literally said the same thing in our Discord. I said I think she's going to struggle. And there's people online right now saying that she may have been intoxicated for her promo. She was slurring her words really bad.
She may have also been nervous. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I hope. I don't think that's the case, but that's
No,
the
I
speculation
think she's a
online.
little too much of a pro to do that.
But there's some people who are on the indie scene right now who come from the so SmackDown. I have SmackDown on right here because now I have this new setup where I can see it. SmackDown is starting with the Bloodline, like on Raw, where they are coming in and destroying everything and taking over the show. So I'll keep you updated what's happening on SmackDown as we go. But I think like I said, there's people on the independent scene. Maybe the guy who's been most dominant on the independent scene, talking to some people backstage, where he says he still has to very structure his matches. He has to kind of cater to what the WB system has been for him on the independent scene because he is so used to that for so long. I think Sasha's going to struggle a little bit with this Stardom style and Japan style. And one of my biggest complaints a little bit is I understand she wanted to work Japan. I understand she wanted to have that experience, but also she left because she felt women's wrestling and the tag team of women's wrestling was not being taken seriously. And she went to a company that had its first ever women's match and gave them 5 minutes.
Yeah, but part of the reason they only got 5 minutes is because of her debut thing. That whole thing is because they're trying to sell this show in California, which is going to be is basically a pay-per-view. You have to have New Japan World, and then you have to pay like $23 on top of it to get that show in February.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't know how good that's going to do.
So what has entered the arena? Go ahead.
A few more predictions for New Japan. I think we get Omega Okada 5 at Forbidden Door 2.
So does Omega hold 2 titles?
Maybe they're going to unify them again. Maybe it's going to be the IWGP US title and the IWGP World title versus title.
Okay.
And maybe we do that to get rid of that awful IWGP World title and get a good belt.
No, the Intercontinental title that's gone.
That has been folded in the IWGP title.
Okay. I like that prediction, and I think the reason that happens is because I think we come close to the end of 2023 with a new IWGP World Champion.
It's very possible.
And I think my prediction is I think this leads to Will Ospreay becoming finally the heavyweight champion of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
He has been champion before.
But I think he beats Kenny. I think that storyline of him being so defeated and upset about that loss, I think he becomes the big golden babyface in Japan to beat the heel Kenny.
So I think he wins the G1 and maybe he beats Kenny, maybe he beats Okada. But my Will Ospreay prediction is he wins the G1, which would make him only the second Gaijin, only the second non-Japanese wrestler besides Kenny to win the G1.
Yeah. All right.
And actually, that would be a perfect story. The only 2 non-Japanese wrestlers who ever won the G1 against one another. Yeah. That would actually be an amazing story.
Let's make our prediction that we probably made last year on Tornado Tech Podcast again this year. Do we get Daniel Bryan in New Japan Pro Wrestling?
You would feel like you would have to. It's funny that one of the big ones for last year was will Danielson, because this is when he was at the beginning of last year, the end of 2021. It was when he was having his big heel run, and he was kind of like everybody was in love with him as this heel. That kind of went away because they did Blackpool Combat Club, and he was having the big title match with Hangman. We were talking like, does he win? And we were kind of split on whether he would win the AEW title in 2022. And I believe I said I think it would be more likely that he wins the IWGP title. He'd even set foot in Japan or New Japan.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy. Daniel Bryan had the most unpredictable year too. He essentially lost everything he was in.
Yeah, well, especially it was with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, just dudes taking L's everywhere.
And now he's going to bounce back a little bit because they're going to build up this thing with him and MJF. Yeah, well, as he should lose to MJF. I am in the camp that he doesn't need the title. I thought he could have elevated the title when the Hangman reign wasn't really going so well, but I think if you're going to use him to put over younger talent. You don't like MJF. You don't need him to put over Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's already over. He's as over as any wrestler can be.
Yeah.
But back to AEW. I do have a few more AEW things. I've CM Punk does not return to AEW in 2023.
I disagree.
I think he would like to, but I think there's forces within AEW that will hold him back unless those forces leave.
I think they have kissed and made up and realize there's money in it.
Well, there is money in it.
I think Punk returns and goes for the Trios Tag Team Championships with FTR to take on the Elite.
That would be amazing, but here's another prediction I have. FTR returns to WWE.
I don't think they go back to the E. I don't think they dug the way Triple H and Shawn ran things when they were there, and I don't think they want to go back.
Dax has been very public that he did have that very bad experience with Shawn at Raw 25, where he confided in Shawn about his mental health stuff and his lack of confidence, and Shawn was in behind closed doors, very, very supportive and complimentary. And then when he was around his old DX buddies, he made fun of him.
Yeah.
And so that did.
So I actually take it one step further. I think they have a fight, but the trios titles are not involved. I can see Death Triangle winning this best of 7. Then they go on to take on House of Black because they need something to do. House of Black has returned and has nothing to work. I think House of Black, Death Triangle have a program. The Elite need someone to work. Insert Punk FTR.
Oh yeah, that company has way too many people. That company has way too many people.
But I think Punk returns and he teams with FTR versus the Elite.
Just a few more AEW related ones I have. Ring of Honor ends 2023 without a TV deal. I think they'll still be doing the Honor Club thing and the pay-per-views on BR Live. I don't think they're going to get a TV deal. And Will Hobbs. I believe Will Hobbs at some point in this year will be the TNT champion.
Okay. Do we get Miro in 2023?
At all? Well, here's the question. Are we more likely to get Miro in 2023 or Rusev in 2023?
That's very true as well. Yeah.
Now there's somebody who could jump back.
Who comes back first, Miro or Andrade?
Miro. I don't think WWE really. Unless Charlotte really has a lot of clout, I don't think WWE wants that. Andrade's got that reputation now, just being a lot to deal with.
Yeah. WWE has picked up one of the top stars from AAA.
Yeah, Dragon Lee.
Does this open doors for AAA and WWE?
No, they signed them. They're not going to work with them. They stole them.
Okay.
It's not going to open any more doors than when they signed Mystico from CMLL.
Yeah. Another interesting bit is that happened at New Japan. Wasn't put on the pay-per-view, but was talked about on their social medias and stuff. There's been a collaboration of craziness in Japan. It looks like New Japan and Noah are going to be working together in 2023.
Yeah, that'll be on that show in California. And they worked together for a while. New Japan was kind of quietly almost booking Noah before I forget the name of the company that owns Noah now, but they also own DDT. Mm-hmm. But Noah, and that might be a Muto thing too, because Muto is office in Noah. But for a while, Noah and New Japan were very, very hand in hand. No, they did New Japan versus Noah as Night 3 of Wrestle Kingdom last year. So they've had a really good. There's a lot more Forbidden Door type stuff that happens in Japan. A lot of companies do tend to work together more than they do here, mainly because WWE has always been very, very closed off to it until very recently, when like Mickey James won the Rumble last year, and that was a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll see like Okada in the Rumble, but maybe you'll see like I don't know who would be a big draw to the audience there, but
everyone thinks Jay White's going to be in the Rumble.
I think it's going to be Muta. I don't know about Jay White. I think it's going to be Muta.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always been a pretty decent worker, like Suzuki-gun.
Does Muta come out, and then later on,
Keiji Muto?
Keiji Muto comes out?
No, Keiji Muto never really had a presence in the United States, where Keiji Muto is the more popular version of him in Japan. Where he would be the Great Muta now and then, it would be like if he got pushed too far, maybe Muta would come
He's like
out.
the demon to Finn Balor.
Yeah. But yeah, where here he was almost exclusively, or not almost, he was, except for when he was first on Excursion, he was the White Ninja. He was the Great Muta here. The only other, this is more of a WWE one. One last prediction I have is Becky Lynch ends 2023 with 1 foot out the door of the wrestling business.
Really?
I think Hollywood might be a call-in. She had a role in the Eternals, which I believe was cut, but the producers were very impressed with her work, and they might have been like holding her off for a bigger thing later down the line. And she's playing Cyndi Lauper on Young Rock. She's getting these acting
really well
gigs.
as Cyndi Lauper too.
Right. I think she's a star. She's a star, and if Hollywood sees that and she's getting that MCU money, and her daughter's getting a little older, and maybe she's thinking,
"I'm going to play in the MCU."
I forget who she played, but she was in the Eternals.
She was physically in it.
I think her scene was cut, but I don't know who she played.
Oh, man, I'd kind of like to see her in X-Men.
Because Jean Grey.
Maybe like a Jean Grey, yeah, maybe.
Oh, she was set for a role, I believe. She had some unused scenes.
Yeah. So, here's a prediction or a question. Mania. Mania gave us one of the biggest ideas of this year. We possibly might be getting The Rock. We might be getting Cena. Some other names have been kind of kicked around. They're starting to pull back the curtain a little bit, saying, when Sean was offered some matches that he turned down, but he's not fully, maybe not turning them down, or maybe having these one-offs where they don't come out of retirement for a run, but they come out and have a one-off at a Mania just to put over a talent.
I feel like if Sean was to do that, he would do it for like an NXT kid, like Carmelo Hayes or something.
Okay. I once again wouldn't hate that at all. Do we get another Austin match either at this Mania or next year's Mania?
Next year's Mania would be fun. I plan on being at next year's Mania, so that would be fun.
I have a wild prediction, and it has nothing to really do with this one because next year's Mania would be 2024. I think we get the match we never really had with Austin. I think we get Austin and Lesnar. I think they both really want it, and I think it finds a way to get done.
I don't know if Steve Austin's body wants, and he'll be like probably 53, 54 years old. I don't know if his body wants Lesnar.
I think he finds a way to get it done.
I think his mind wants Lesnar. I think his body's like, no, I'm good. Here's a little fun fact though, because like I said, I do plan to be at WrestleMania next year. I've been to 2 WrestleManias before, and they share something in common. Both WrestleManias I've been at, The Rock has lost the WWE title at WrestleMania.
Interesting.
So maybe The Rock finally does come back, but it's not this year; it's next year.
Interesting. All right. Any other predictions do you have?
That was all I had.
Was all. Any names coming back this year? There's a lot out there right now that people are thinking. When it comes to people returning to wrestling, Nick Aldis is being thrown out there.
Well, he's not retired. He's just in between companies. I think the best place for him. Yeah, I think the best place for Aldis, if they want him, is WWE. I think he would do well there.
Kurt Hawkins just re-signed at Impact. Cardona's still available. Chelsea Green's still available. All this is available. FTR is up in the air of where they might go. Dustin Rhodes has a year left to go in his contract. Andrade, Miro, some people. We haven't really heard anything about Kota Ibushi.
Yeah, it was funny because I watched a little bit of New Year's Dash, and when Kenny comes out as part of the main event, and they're like, who's his partner gonna be? Like, is Kota coming back? I know he's really at odds with New Japan, but is Kota gonna? And then Okada comes out.
Yeah. This year we're also supposed to be getting the debut of 2023. We're supposed to be getting NXT UK, but not UK. It's
NXT Europe. Yeah.
Also, there's NXT is forming a Australian branch, a Japan branch.
This was a Triple H plan from a while back, and then NXT lost the wrestling war, and those plans got reined in real quick.
Supposedly they're still in talks about bringing it back. But who will be the inaugural NXT European champion?
The greatest European champion of all time, D'Lo Brown.
I love it.
The champion of Europe.
I'm just kind of going off a website here. Do Darby Allin and Sting break up this year?
The only problem with that is who do you turn heel? I guess Darby maybe has a heel run somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you would get heel heat by turning on Sting, but you can't really have the payoff unless you think Sting can do a singles match with him. Like Sting does a lot for a guy his age and with the injuries he's had, but they usually do hide him in like 6-man tags.
Yeah. And then let's just end the year with some WWE once again. Oh, Stephen Chambers says Sanity comes back. I would love that. Big Damo is probably one of the nice human beings I've ever met in my life.
I love Big Damo.
And I would love for him to be on my TV again. I'm very happy Bronson Reed's
even
back.
though Big Damo was very, very rough with my good friend Tom Phillips.
He was. Yeah.
Tom Mitchell. Tom Phillips.
Yeah.
My buddy Tom Mitchell.
I'm happy Bronson Reed's back. I'm excited for that one a lot.
Again, another really cool guy. But yeah. Not Jonah. Big Damo may have thrown Tom Mitchell around a little bit. Tom Mitchell got thrown around so much by Big Damo. He's like, this interview stuff is too dangerous. I'm becoming a wrestler.
Yeah. So I told Damo at PPW, I said, dude, it's only a matter of time. You're coming back. Sanity's going to be a thing again. And he goes, no, I doubt it. And I go, I don't care what you say. It's happening. Like, as we were leaving the arena, and I said, yeah, man, great. Thank you again. Because that was like the second time I worked with him.
Such a sweet guy.
So I was like, dude, we're gonna see you on TV again. I'm gonna be buying a brand new Sanity T-shirt in 2023. And he goes, I'm glad you have more faith in my career than I do. I appreciate that. And we gave a big hug and we left. And then once Nikki started teasing everything, I DM'd him and I was like, hey man, looking good. And he goes, unless you know something I don't, it's not happening. And I just wrote back the gif of Ron Burgundy. I don't believe you. And he goes, cheers, mate. Have a good new year. And that was it.
That's awesome. Such a pleasure to work with that guy. Yeah. Such a gentleman behind the scenes. Such a sweetheart. But no, it is so funny that promo I'm talking about with him and Tom Mitchell. The guy who was kind of behind the scenes producing that promo is now producing in WWE again.
Yeah.
That was a Brian Kendrick joint, that promo. He was just like a little more over the top, a little more 80s. And then finally he just chucks Tom Mitchell on the ground in the entire
I will say this, since bringing him back to help Ronda, her matches got a lot better.
Brian Kendrick's a very talented man.
Very talented man.
Very talented man in many aspects of professional wrestling.
Let's end this show with one more prediction. We'll throw some names out there. Just no prep, just kind of winging it. 2023 Hall of Fame.
WWE, I'm gonna guess here. Okay, so who was the main guy last year? Who was the main?
Taker.
Oh yeah, of course. Easy. Triple H. He's never wrestling again. I mean, he's already in his
rumors online, or Batista.
That would be a good one. I forgot he wasn't in yet. Batista would be a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted. Oh, Alex. Yeah. Hi, Alex. I can't see the chat there thing because the most recent chat gets cut off for me. Maybe Evolution is a group, but Triple H is already in as part of DX. But then he's going to as Evolution. He's going to go in as himself. No, Batista will be a great one. Women's division, Trish is in, right? Did Trish go in yet?
I'm not. I'm.
I know. Lita's in. Yeah, it's a fake Hall of Fame. I don't pay attention to it. The one guy I've always said, why is this guy not in the Hall of Fame? Old school guy is Rick Martel. Why is Rick Martel not in the Hall of Fame? Makes no sense to me.
All right. Well, that'll do it for our 2023 predictions. We will be back next week with the history of is coming back next week. A lot of people like our history of episodes, and we are going to do the history of, and it's kind of topical because he is our current New Japan heavyweight champion. We are going to make it rain.
World champion.
IWGP world champion. Sorry. I watched one show and I still fuck up.
International Wrestling Grand Prix.
We are going to make it rain next week, and we're going to talk about Okada, the Rainmaker. We've already done Tanahashi, so now we're going to do the
if I'm not mistaken, we may have done Okada years ago.
Really?
I think we may have. Whatever.
What's Tornado Tag? It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's dead now. But yeah, we're gonna do a history of. We might have some people join us.
It's dead, and we're bringing the music back.
Yeah, where it's dead, but the music coming back. But yeah, Brian, what do you got to plug? Tell people about your podcast.
Murder My Dude. I forgot the hat. We did put out an episode last week. We do it bi-weekly every other Friday.
Better wear that fucking hat.
We did an episode on the Times Square Killer, and it came out on the day before New Year's Eve. It came out like January 30th.
How come? This is a weird question. How come he doesn't get more acknowledgement as one of like a high body count?
Because a lot of them are hypothetical. I think there's only like 12 or 13 confirmed, and he's saying like 80, 90. Yeah. So a lot of it is because they don't have names attached to it, and he's still kind of revealing them.
He's having a blast with it. He's just staying relevant. He has someone to talk to, you know.
Yeah. Who may or may not be his daughter.
Yeah. A great episode. Go check it out.
We have one coming up this coming Friday. I have no idea what we're talking about. I should probably get on that. We're recording it in about 3 days, so I should probably get it done.
It will be an episode about murder and dudes.
And, yeah, there'll probably be a dude in there. My. Oh, my.
Yeah. Oh, my. But, make sure you check out all the content on Murder My Dude. Check them out on all podcast apps. Leave a 5-star review and say you heard it from
Actually, we've been bandying this about, I think, not 100%. We'll get it official on the next episode. I think we might be doing the Chicago Tylenol murders. We've been talking about that one for a while. I think this might be the week.
Okay. Episodes coming up. I just had Rasha on the Macedon, talked about Smash Master Wrestling, had JS Hawthorne on, which was a great interview. So those are out right now on all social media apps. If you go listen to them audio in your car, if you're driving back and forth to work, leave a review, hit a 5-star review, helps out a lot. The audio, we're getting really close to 200 plays on the audio side, which is crazy because it's only 3 months in. Subscriptions on YouTube, we are closing in on 450. So if we can get 500 by the end of the month, that'd be sick. We're 6 days in and we're already close to halfway there. And we'll give a quick show off right now who we got next episode. Damon Dante.
You finally got his name right. Yes, Damon.
Yeah, Damon Dante. I've been saying Damien the whole time. Damon Dante will be episode 15. That'll be earlier in the day that day. And then later on that night, Kevin Skiffington, as we know, Skiff
not dead.
Yeah, no longer dead. Brought back to life. Thank you, Erica Lee, for that. We're going to be talking probably with him in stand-up comedy as well as some
very cool.
Some cool things going on with Camp Leapfrog.
Another thing to plug really quick between now and the next show. The reason we're not going to be on Thursday next week, we kind of brought it up in passing, but if you're local, if you're in central Pennsylvania, if you're in especially the Schuylkill County areas we are, you and I next Thursday, or this coming Thursday, the 12th, will be at Pilgaroo Brewing in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, just hanging out with our pro wrestling club.
We're still formulating on how this is going to be a thing. It's essentially right now it's just a hangout. We just kind of meet at a bar one night and drink and watch TV.
Well, the last time we did it, it was so funny. The last time we were supposed to do it, a few of our regulars were under the weather. You didn't have no. You didn't have this didn't snow this night. You didn't have access to a car. So the pro wrestling club wound up being me and Tony Deppen just sitting around talking about wrestling for 2 hours.
Great. Which, you can't go wrong with that either. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Tony's really fun to talk wrestling.
Oh, he's hilarious. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Tony just had a match, I believe, last weekend with Nick Gage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. GCW title match. Yeah.
And Masha Slamovich won the Rumble, so she'll be taking on Nick Gage.
Yes, and I saw there's a giant face-off with Gage and Maki Ito.
Yeah, Maki Ito is now in the MDK gang, and she took on Allie Catch.
Well, because I know she had a dark match with WWE. You had, and I don't think she's been involved with GCW for a bit, but Kylie Ray was part of it for a while. She was Murder Death Kylie. Yeah.
Also, going on right now. What the fuck I was just about to say? Oh, hilarious story. So we're out at the gas station, me and Philly Mike. I took him to physical therapy, and then we stopped at the gas station because Philly Mike is the embodiment of independent wrestling. This guy, he sees gas stations and he's like, I got to eat everything on that menu because I need to know if it's, you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. Mike embodies. Even if he doesn't have to, he's just like, I gotta go to the gas station. I gotta get some. Like he orders like.
Oh yeah, well we're totally hitting up Rudders tomorrow after AXW.
Yeah.
Gotta get that peanut butter chocolate milk.
So that's Philly Mike's thing. So we're sitting there waiting for our food, and a police officer walks in, and a big dude, and he walks in and he looks at Mike, he looks at me, and he's like, MDK all day, motherfucker, because he's wearing a fucking GCW hoodie, and I go, that is the coolest thing a cop's ever said to me. And the cop started losing it. And this cop, I guess, will be at Hamburg this Saturday. But he walked in and seen Mike and looked at his hoodie and goes, MDK all day, motherfucker.
That's
in a
great.
gas station. And we're like, this is great.
That cop's gang affiliated, yeah.
There's a gang affiliated cop, a pro wrestling gang affiliated cop, with the coolest thing. I think that'll probably happen to me this year. But yeah, it was really cool. And we'll be seeing Philly Mike very soon on this show. He's going to be joining us in the near future, talking some wrestling with us. Maybe he's on the Rainmaker episode. We'll find out. But that's going to do it. This is the last time I swear you'll hear this music, and then it'll be the old school Tornado Tag music with a different photo intro. Hopefully I can get some B-roll footage come up this year and we can make actual intros. But we're out of here. If you are watching, I'll be heading over to the Tantalizing Tony show here in about 5-10 minutes. So we'll see you guys next time. We're out of here. We'll see you next Friday with the Rainmaker, the history of.